Hey guys, it's Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Have you seen love cats? They're just so cute. I've got a fun fold card for you today featuring that stamp set. All right, so here's our card. Hey there, Valentine. And now when you open up, what do you see? Isn't that cute? Head over heels about you. And look at our little love cat. It's head over heels. All right, let's get started. Such a cute card, such a fun surprise, and so simple. Wait till you see how easy it is. We're going to start with Coastal Cabana, and this is 5.5 by 8.5, and I've already scored and folded at 4 1/4, like a standard card. Now we're going to grab our Simply Score tool, and you can use the stylus here for this part. Let's pop it in on the 8.5 inch side, and we're going to mark along the top edge at 1.5 and 7. All right, now we're going to take away the Simply Scored, and you'll need to keep your stylus and grab a ruler. I've also got a friction erasable pen. You can use a pencil here. On the seam side that you marked your 1.5 and 7, you're going to measure along the fold 3.5. So I like to just grab my ruler, put 3.5 on the same edge as the marks that we've made, and then put a little mark on the fold at the end of your ruler. All right, now that's an erasable mark, so don't worry. Now using the stylus, you're going to line the dot with the indent that you made. When you've got that, just trace along the ruler with your stylus. And score. Now you're going to go from the dot to the other indent that you made. And score. And I'm just doing a light score because the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up, and I'm going to go a little bit heavier with my score line now, because what you're doing here is you're allowing these score line that you're doing to reach through both layers. And just gentle repeat over and over it. Okay, now at this point we can grab our friction pen. I love these. I'll leave a link in the description. I use these in my calendar too. And we're just going to erase that mark. See? Simple. And it erases with friction, so the heat is what erases the ink. All right, now we're going to fold our card on the 4 1/4. You want this triangle in your right hand. And as you fold, you want to bring in, do you see? We're pushing along the fold for the pop-up part so that it begins to go in. And we're holding that center score so that it stays out. And we're just going to push down, down, down along that center fold, bringing in and working that diagonal fold. Do you see? Now once you've got it to this point, you can lay it down. And then here you want to square up the bottom of the card. So I've got my bone folder in hand, and you notice I'm not bullying this into place because we want to finesse it a little bit. We want to make sure that these diagonal folds line up perfectly. So I'm holding the edge of the back of the card and pushing the edge of the front of the card to line up perfectly. And I'm going to hold that tight with my fingers. And then I'm going to check this corner, make sure that these corners line up. And if they don't exactly, give it a little shift. Now you're going to use your bone folder to finish this fold. And you'll see that as you do that and you keep holding in place that perfect match at the bottom, you might have to arrange it, get it back there again, and then work your bone folder and then push it back so that it lines up perfectly in the corners and along the bottom. And this little finessing that you're doing here with your bone folder is key to having everything line up in this crease. So now we got a super cute pop-up fun fold. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's set that aside for just a minute. Okay, so I'll have a photograph of this template in the project sheet. You can find this on kitchentablestamper.com. There's a link in the description below with a printable project sheet. It'll have the measurements and some instructions right on the template, photograph, and a project sheet with printable full color photo, measurements, and instructions for you. All right, so we've got our base created, set it aside. The other thing I did to put with my template, so if you're like me and you want to make a physical template, grab the project sheet, print it out, make yourself a template. But we're going to talk about the Designer Series paper layers now, and we're going to talk about the liner. So we've got the liner pieces of 2 Designer Series paper and basic white, and on the outside we've got our Designer Series paper. Now for my template piece for this, I want to show you what I did because I don't see angles very well. It's really hard for me. So what I did was I made myself a Designer Series paper template for the inside paper layers. What you need for this one is a 2 1/4 by 3 1/8 inch piece of Designer Series paper, and you cut it corner to corner. All right, now here's what I want to show you why I did it in Designer Series paper, and I store it right with the template that I made in a page protector, and it helps me to really see. The fun part about this card is it's kind of a 2-for-1 card. If you're gonna do 1 copy of it, you might as well do 2, because when you take 2 Designer Series papers and you cut them the opposite way, then what you'll have is 1, do you see? 2, that's 1 card. And then you have this one where you can do, see, this is why I need to do it and do it in, there we go, 3, 4. So now there's all your pieces and you get one card of each side of Designer Series paper. So this one you can hold on to for another card. You see? All right, so this is my template pieces, and I'm gonna keep them right in the folder or right in the page protector with the printable project sheet from this card. So for our sample today, I decided that I wanted 2 different papers. I've got my pieces of Hues of Happiness Designer Series paper. That's the one that we're using here. And I've got 2 1/4 by 3 1/8, 2 pieces. And what we're gonna do is put the top pattern top, and we're gonna cut from the right upper to the left lower, and then we're going to take the second pattern, cut from the right or from the left upper to the right lower. Okay, and then we'll have our 2 pieces that we need for the inside of the card. It'll leave us 2 opposing triangles of exactly the right size to design another card. So just keep it in mind if you don't want those triangle scraps to go to waste. I'm gonna grab my paper trimmer and let's do that plan. And if you're like me and triangles baffle you a little bit, this is the way that I found that I could keep my mind wrapped around the triangles. All right, so I've got my paper trimmer. I'm going to lift, and then like we said, we've still got the top one top. We're gonna go upper right to lower left, and just line up those corners on the track, close and cut. I'm gonna put that right back where I got it from. Can't be confused if I keep it all straight from the beginning. Now we're gonna do the opposite. So we've got this upper left to lower right. So grab your upper left corner, pop that on the track, and cut it. And maybe these angles don't baffle you at all and I've oversimplified it for you. And if that's you, then you are a geometry genius and that's so awesome. But if you're like me and triangles are a little tricky, hopefully you're finding this helpful. And we tackled it first. What is that? I think it's Mark Twain that said that you should swallow the frog, meaning like the hardest thing in your day, do that first. Then the rest of your day is easy, right? Is that a Mark Twain quote? All right, so we got our little piece here for the upper part of our inside pop-up. And we're going to glue that right in centered. See how perfectly it fits. The angles line up. We got the pattern that we wanted there in the right spot. Now this one, we're going to pop that guy in. Now, I'm going to show you a little trick. So, all right, now let me show, all right, so we got that, right? Now let me show you a little trick, right? This is a 2-for-1 card. So you could pop this one and you could pop this one as long as they're not directional papers and just make 2 of this card at one time. See how easy that is? All right. You probably are seeing how much I struggle with triangles. Let me set these aside because I can make another Valentine with that one. And we've got the hardest part of the whole project done. All right, now to the outside papers. I've got my beautiful Hues of Happiness designer series paper. And this one is 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to grab our friction pen again, and we're going to measure from the top left corner and mark the 1 3/4 inches. And so on this one, we're going to line that up along the top and mark 1 3/4 inches. Then we're going to measure up from the bottom right corner at 1 3/8. So again, I'm going to drop 1 3/8 on the edge of my paper, and then I'm going to mark the end of my ruler. All right, now we're going to bring in our trimmer again, line those marks on the track, and slice away. Now we have our outside designer series paper. Let's do the exact same thing for our inner liner. There we go, there's our inner liner. And back to my friction pen, you'll see, just flick and the heat will erase what's left of the lines. Let's do the same thing here and here. Love this pen. All right, now I'm going to go ahead with this one and glue my designer series paper. I've also got a little contrasting stripe. So this is 5 1/4 inches by 1. And I'm just going to layer those right on the top of my card. Hold off on the inside panel because we're going to do a little embellishing on the inside here. All right, first our wallpaper, our background panel. And just slide it till you got pretty equal borders all the way around. And then our contrasting strip. This is going to go, maybe you want to reveal about 1/4 inch of designer series paper under at the bottom edge. So there we go. Not too bad. It's really starting to come together, isn't it? Let's bring our sample back in here. All right, I'm excited. Let's do some stamping now. I've got my inside liner and a circle, basic white. This is cut with the layering circles and it is 1 5/8 inches. We're going to add our greetings first. That's our nice, easy stamping. Got head over heels, about you. Now remember, we're gonna add this fun embellishment, and we can do that little bulky embellishment there because we've got this fold that kind of holds it nicely. Usually you can't do so much embellishing on the inside, but this fold makes it possible. So you wanna put this all the way to the left and up enough to make room for your string on the inside. Isn't string with these cats just so perfect? I'll show you that product in just a minute. head over heels about you. And then on the outside, we're going to use Hi There Valentine. And it's going to go up a little higher center so we have room for more of those little hearts on the outside. And so cute. Let's get our cats. I've already got them lined up on my Stamparatus because I want nice dark cats. I want my black cats to be black. So I've lined up my cats on the plate. I'm going to put my stamp set to the left here because that's going to support the plate as we ink. Got a sheet with the magnets separated to hold it down because we're going to do an ink stamp ink repeat stamp technique to get these cats nice and dark. Just love these dudes. And fun part is with a little bit of planning here, we can do both all at one time. So 2 images, ink and repeat. All right, so we'll lift, take a look. Could definitely use that to be darker. It's got kind of a felt look or maybe a pepper and salt look. But when we add some more black ink and stamp in exactly, precisely the same place using our Stamparatus, we're gonna get some nice dark kitties. Now, don't press too hard here. You'll lose the little fur detail on the back or some of the detail of the nose and face. Just let the ink transfer. Take some time, run your fingers over a little bit, but don't press too hard. You will blur out some of the details if you do. Just give a good inking. We're gonna do one more time and just touch and let the ink transfer. I'm just walking my fingers lightly without any real additional pressure here. Look at our nice solid cats. We're gonna cut them out. I'm going to slide this aside. I love to cut. It doesn't bother me, but I kind of do wish that we had dies for these guys. We don't, but we want them to pop. That's the whole point of this card, is to make that kind of extra special beyond the borders and off the edges. Hold on to these scraps because we're going to do some details. I did the details on this one in Fresh Freesia. So little hearts, and then little heart, this one in Fresh Freesia. So let's hold on to our scraps and then just cut these guys out with a tiny little white border. Best way to do this is to remember that you want to start with the end in mind. So we started on that nice flat edge. We'll come down around the curve. It'll be easy. While we got the most paper, we're going to get into the inside here. And you'll notice that I just leave the tiniest little border. But in order to get that little border, I turn the paper. I don't hack the scissors around. So I think that'll help you. Just that one technique, that one awareness, I think will help you with the enjoyability of cutting, and the end results will be better. See how I just rotate using my non-dominant hand. The scissors might help, like in an area like this, I might come out and cooperate, but the non-dominant hand does the driving. All right, let me cut these guys out. And you'll notice that I got to that heart and now I'm just cutting. There's no need to fussy cut that heart because we're going to cut a contrasting color and glue it over. So you can just kind of leave yourself a little space where you can glue the other one. Don't fussy cut it twice if you don't have to. Got one down, and the same is going to apply to this guy. So start with the end in mind. You want a nice easy place to end. Cut it out. When you get to the hearts, you don't have to fussy cut those hearts on this round. Just leave yourself a glue tab where you can glue the contrasting color. All right, we're here to the hearts. So all I'm going to do is cut, cut, cut. Now we've got a nice little glue tab that we can add the contrasting color hearts. And our cats. Now we're going to grab our love cats again, this time on the blocks. Is fine. You could just clean off on the Stamparatus and then use the same device. I'm going to do my hearts this time, just for a little variety. I'm going to try the hearts with the Melon Mambo ink. So you only need the relevant areas. That's why I just switched to blocks. And we're going to get that little dangly heart. Cute. And then we're going to get these little floating hearts. Just using that same scrap. So cute. Now we're going to cut them out. One done. Now this guy. And what I'm going to do is go down along the biggest, up, and I'm going to cut them out in one piece. It'll add some stability to that little pop-up element this way too. You could cut out each one and glue it on over the edge of the black one, but we're going to have a little bit more stability in that pop-up element that hangs all the way off the edge if you cut them out as one piece. All right, so we got them kind of bubble cut. All right, let me clear away the scraps and grab some liquid glue. We're going to glue down those hearts before I lose them. Give them a second to dry too. All right, a dab of glue on the glue tab. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up some of that glue on the other piece. And what that does, we can wipe that glue on here, is gives us just the very minimum of what we need to hold it. Now, we couldn't anticipate exactly the bubble shape that we were going to cut the hearts exactly. So you might have just a little bit of trimming to do. I came in a little bit tighter right here. So I'm just going to come in a little bit tighter on my background and see, we're just getting rid of that little bit right there. So cute. Look at that. It's going to be so cute hanging off the edge of our card. And now this guy's already got some glue waiting for it, and just lay it on over the glue tab, cover all the black from that heart. Aren't they sweet? I think it kind of makes them come to life. If you want to, you can take the Melon Mambo marker and put a little pink on their noses. That's kind of fun. All right, we'll bring our card back in and our inside layer back in, and our greeting. Let me show you what I have here. I have a few little die cuts that are already done. It'll save us a couple of passes through the machine on video, but I'm going to show you where everything came from. So we've got a Melon Mambo scallop circle. It's the coordinating. So we had the 1 5/8 circle. We're going to use a 1 3/4 scallop circle. We can glue those right together. You're going to have the littlest scallopy border. So take your time and line that up. I did some die cutting ahead too with some scraps. This is fresh freesia, and I cut 3 hearts. They're little stitched ones from fresh freesia, and I've got 2 little stitched hearts from Melon Mambo. I did those using the Give It a Whirl dies. This Give It a Whirl die set is for making Viewmaster cards. Really cool. But you'll notice that there's also tons of little supporting dies that are going to make this die set so worthwhile. We used the medium and the small heart. There's clouds and banners and all kinds of windows. Here's a little mechanism for the Viewmaster. It just rotates. Put a little brad in the center. Cool, cool die set. But I use it most for the stars, hearts, clouds. All the little supporting pieces will really give you your value worth from that die set. And I do like that the hearts are stitched. It adds just a little extra detail. My string, can't have cats without string, right? Is the new 3 twine combo pack. This is from the January, April Stampin' Up catalog. What I want to do here is take 2 pieces that are longer than my 5 1/4, enough to tape down the edges, and we're going to cut those from the spool. So I've got 1, Now I'm going to just measure the seam. So they're probably somewhere about 6 inches, maybe 5 3/4 each, but just enough to crisscross and tape to the back. So we'll start with our first one and our tear and tape, and have 2 little pieces right ready to go to secure those ends down. And we're going to start right under our greeting, fold and tape. We're going to take the first piece and we're going to start right under our greeting, fold and tape. Now here, don't secure down the edge, just secure the twine. Leave my fingers in the way. Leave the tail, okay, down to the other end, right above the corner. Got another piece here. Secure the twine, but don't burnish down the end. Leave that loose. Grab your second piece, tuck it underneath the tear and tape, secure it down, bring it across to the other side where the loose end of your tear and tape, if it did get pushed down, it's not the end of the world. You can stick it to the tear and tape. Then you can cut off any excess to keep the bulk to a minimum. There shouldn't be too much because we auditioned our length first. Now what we want to do, remove the tear and tape, and we're going to use some tear and tape to secure this. We can go back along the bottom edge, further securing that twine. We can go up along the diagonal, further securing that twine, and then up this edge, further securing that twine. So it's going to be nice and secure, but you saved yourself 5, 10, almost 10 inches of twine from just wrapping it and taping down the ends. So you can get twice as many cards from your spools of twine if you do your wrapped. So it looks like you wrapped it around on the front side. On the back side, you saved yourself 10 inches of twine almost. All right, so let's pop this into our card with the little Coastal Cabana border all the way around. Stay clear of your folds here. You don't want to mess your mechanism. And pop that in. Cute, cute. I love this card. Let me show you. Right. Now we're going to grab a little dimensionals and 2 hearts. I'm going to use my mini Stampin' Dimensionals here. What I'm going to do is where this crisscrosses is where we want our hearts to line up. So I'm going to add a dimensional just above where it crisscrosses. Pop my bigger heart on. Then I'm going to add a half of a dimensional. Again, right up against, this is a mini dimensional, right up against that twine. And just slightly under the other heart. And then expose the adhesive and drop the small heart right on top. So now it's over the twine. We've given it enough room for the twine to run underneath. Our kitty can do the same. We can go ahead and put the cat on with dimensionals too. What you want to keep in mind here is you want her little tail to go up over the fold. So we really got some dynamic pop-up action here. See, so we're gonna put her so that she's level with the fold, but so that it exceeds past. It's just really kind of underscores what we're doing with the pop-up here. All right, so I'm going to add some dimensions, but low. We don't want to glue our mechanism closed. And then you can add a little half if you want to, right on the dangly heart, because we know that this is going to be below the fold, and it'll give this some support. Haha, look at that cutie. And there we go. There we have it. Everything's working with the folds. We've got all of our fun dimension. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right, let me bring our sample back in here. And outside is going to be a little bit tricky. Let's put our cat first. But what we want to do is liquid glue. We can do this paw a little bit. Do the tail with a little bit. Now what we want to do is just the very bottom edge of our kitty, because everything else is going to extend past the fold. We don't want to glue our card to the table. And our little kitty. Mostly secure that tail and that paw. And there. Don't you love it? All right, we need a length of twine here. We're gonna do, from the spool is fine. We're gonna do 4 fingers and we're gonna wrap 3 times. So we'll get back to where we started from and cut from the spool. My cat card stole my spool. They want to play with the twine. Now, what we can do with this dude, and not any one is going to look exactly like any other one, and it's okay. We're going to grab our little twine, and we can put it right behind our greeting, or we can do like this. This is how I find, if you're kind of want some control, you want to see how it's going to look as you go, a couple of little strips of tear and tape. And you can start hiding your edge and then just loop and swoop and tuck as you go. And until you run out of twine, just tack down the ends. Now, what we want to do with that is grab some dimensionals. I'm going to use up the last bits here. And we're going to just further secure our little loops by adding the dimensional that we're going to use to adhere this element to the card. Now we've got Hey There Valentine. Let's pick and stick that, and then we can I've got 1 extra loop on this sample, but that's okay because our kitty loves the twine. Make sure your Hey Valentine greeting is level. Now for our embellishments. You can double dimensional on the outside here if you want to by adding the heart with dimensionals. If you're going to mail the card because you got a little bit of bulk in that fold and you've got some dimensionals here, then you'll want to add your hearts flat. I don't know if this is going to go in the mail or if it's going to go in with a package. It'll probably end up in Prize Patrol. So if you don't know already, at Kitchen Table Stamper, we have a craft social group. And in the craft social group, we play different games. And the winners every week get a Prize Patrol packet. And so these will probably go into a Prize Patrol pack, which means it'll already be kind of bulky. So I'm going to double dimensional. I'm going to put my pink, my Melon Mambo, and then I'm going to take another one, put in half, and to each side of the heart I'll add a half. Remove the liner and pop the little hearts. Now without some sparkle, we're not done. So let's grab our opaque adhesive backed gems. I love this fresh freesia one. It's perfect for our kitty card. And I'm going to be very generous with these because we're on 2 different designer series papers and we want them to show. I'm going to do 5 little sparkles. I'll do 2 up here and then 3 down here. And I'm using different sizes just to use them up equally. Got big ones, little ones, even littler ones. There's our card. What do you guys think? Is that fun? Super easy. It looks far more complicated than I think it was. We got fresh freesia for our little hearts and melon mambo. Here's our head over heels about you. All right, you guys, if you have any questions about the project, email marisa@kitchentablestamper.com. And to shop Stampin' Up 24/7, buzz over to marisaAlvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.